In April 2003, Aaron Ralston, an adventurous mountaineer, heads out alone to explore Utah's canyonlands. Confident and excited, he prepares his gear and sets off, eager to beat the guidebook's time estimate. The morning is full of energy. Aaron races through the desert on his bike, pushing himself like he always does. On the way, he meets two hikers, Christy and Megan, who seem a little lost. Aaron, always the showman, offers to guide them. He takes them through narrow canyons, laughing and filming their adventure on his camera. At one point, he even convinces them to jump into a hidden underground pool. It's a thrilling, spontaneous, and unforgettable experience for the three of them. The women thought Aaron was an interesting guy, so they invited him to a party they're holding the next day. Aaron agrees, but as he walks away, they doubt he's going to show up. Aaron continues on his adventure. He continues deeper into Blue John Canyon. He is surrounded by narrow paths and towering rocks, but as he climbs down between boulders wedged in the canyon walls, disaster strikes. A massive 360-kilogram rock shifts loose, sending both of them crashing down and pinning his right arm against the canyon wall. Aaron tries to pull his arm, but he can't get it out. That's when he realizes that he's trapped. He shouts for help, but no one is around. What makes it even worse is that he hadn't told anyone where he was going. He tries his best to stay calm. He checks his watch. It's 3:14 p.m. He goes through his backpack and finds a small multi-tool, some snacks, a water bottle, a rope, and a video camera. The first hours are filled with frantic attempts. He pushes, pulls, and tries to lift the boulder, but it won't move. He rigs his climbing gear, setting up a pulley system to try to gain leverage, but the rock doesn't budge an inch. Fatigue begins to set in. He realizes he may be stuck here for a long time. That night, the temperature dropped significantly. With only one arm free, Aaron tries to stay warm by wrapping himself with any available cloth he has. By the next day, his determination turns to problem solving. He tries chipping away at the boulder with his multi-tool, but the stone is far too hard. His efforts barely leave a scratch. Then he begins to journal his situation through his camera. Hours turn into another day, and hope feels further away. With food and water limited, Aaron begins rationing carefully. He starts to feel the weight of isolation pressing on him. The next day, Aaron's optimism begins to fade. His body is stiff, his arm throbs with relentless pain, and the canyon feels colder and darker. He continues recording himself, joking at times, but his eyes betray the truth. Fear is setting in. He admits on camera that nobody knows where he is. He tries again to free himself, wrapping the rope around the rock, pulling with all his strength, gritting his teeth until his muscles give out, but nothing works. Frustration turns to desperation. He takes out his multi-tool and attempts to cut into his arm, thinking he can amputate his arm. But the blade is dull, too weak to break through his skin. As the hours went on, thirst consumes him, his lips crack, and his throat burns. Eventually, when his water runs out, Aaron makes a horrible choice. With no other option, he begins drinking his own urine. The taste makes him gag, but he has to do it in order to survive in the desert. At night, his mind drifts into hallucinations. Memories of his family surface, his parents, his sister, and his ex, Rana. Faces flash in his imagination. Conversations play in his mind. He talks to them through his camera, apologizing, reminiscing, and confessing regrets. By day 4, Aaron's body is breaking down. His skin is pale, his eyes sunken, and his voice weaker each time he records. The boulder hasn't moved, and his strength is slowly fading. His video diary grows darker, filled with messages to his family in case they ever find the camera. At times he jokes bitterly, almost laughing at his own misery. At other times, he's silent for long stretches, staring into the lens with hollow eyes. Aaron is no longer the same man who cheerfully biked into the desert. His face is pale, his voice is weak, and his mind drifts further into hallucinations. He begins to imagine he's hosting a talk show, speaking to an invisible audience.
It is 7 o'clock here in Canyonland, USA.
And making jokes about his own situation as if mocking the absurdity of being trapped by a rock. For a brief moment, he laughs, but it's hollow. He knows that he may not survive this, that this canyon could be his grave. However, even with the odds against him, some spark inside refuses to fully give in. He keeps trying, keep holding on, because deep down, Aaron isn't ready to die. Not yet. Soon, the visions turn more personal. He sees his past with Rana, the woman he once loved. Their breakup replays in his head like a cruel movie scene, reminding him of what he lost.
You're gonna be so lonely, Aaron.
He also sees moments with his family, his parents and his sister, and wonders if he'll ever hug them again. Each hallucination is both comfort and torment, giving him glimpses of the life he craves but might never return to. By the 5th day, Aaron knows he's running out of time. The smell of rot is beginning to rise from his trapped arm, the flesh slowly dying under the crushing weight of the boulder. He examines it carefully and realizes the only way to escape is to cut it completely. His earlier attempts with the dull blade failed, but now he considers a far more brutal plan, snapping the bones himself. The thought terrifies him, and in the middle of his darkest hour, a vision strikes him. He imagines a young boy, his future son. The child smiles at him, looking into his eyes as if urging him not to give up. Aaron interprets it as a sign, a glimpse of the life that still waits for him if he survives. That vision reignites his determination. He knows exactly what he has to do: break the bones, cut through the flesh, and finally free himself from the boulder's grip. Aaron takes a deep breath. On the morning of the 6th day, Aaron summons every ounce of strength left in his body. He knows this is the day he must choose between unbearable pain or certain death. Then, suddenly, he jumps and snaps the bones in his right arm. Aaron screams in agony. With the bones broken, he takes out his dull multi-tool and begins the brutal process of cutting through the flesh. The blade isn't sharp, tearing instead of slicing. He cries out, sweat dripping down his face, but he pushes forward. Nerves spark with electric pain, forcing him to pause, gasp, and gather courage again. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, he severs the last tendon. His right arm falls free from the boulder. Aaron stumbles back. He quickly ties a bandage using his gear. After nearly 6 days, he's finally free. For a brief moment, Aaron stared at the boulder. He then takes a picture of it with his camera, as if to mark the moment. Then, he begins walking towards the narrow canyon. Then finally, he reached the exit. He embraced the moment for a bit. Then his first challenge comes quickly. He must rappel down a 65-foot rock wall using only one arm. He secures his ropes and begins the descent. He moves carefully, inch by inch. When his feet finally touched the ground, he immediately ran to a small pool of murky water. Without hesitation, he plunges in, drinking and splashing it over his face. For the first time in days, he feels life returning to his body. After a quick break, he begins trekking the desert. Aaron walks through the scorching heat, his bandaged arm pressed tightly against his side. His vision blurs, and he stumbles often, but he refuses to collapse. He knows help must be out there. He just has to find it. Then finally, in the distance, he spots a family hiking along the trail. With the last of his strength, he shouts for help.
I need help!
The parents rush toward him. They give him water. Then Aaron collapses, finally allowing his body to rest. Within moments, a rescue team is on its way. Soon, the sound of helicopter blades echoes above the canyon. As the helicopter carries him away, Aaron looks down at the vast desert, at the canyons where he spent nearly 6 days trapped and fighting for survival. The weight of what he has endured finally sinks in. He has done the impossible. The film then shifts to the aftermath of his incident. Despite everything, Aaron never stopped pursuing his passion for adventure. He continued to explore. In time, Aaron finds love. He meets Jessica, the woman who becomes his wife, and together they welcome a son into the world. Aaron's struggle was not just about breaking free from a rock, but about rediscovering the will to live. Against all odds, he survived 127 hours alone in the desert. And in choosing to endure the pain, he ensured that his story would inspire millions around the world.